Welcome everyone to the beginner's room with me today. It's Friday, and on Fridays we talk about patterns. We analyze the market for chart patterns to tell the kind of trade we'll be able to find or that I will be taking. I look at patterns mainly. Sometimes we'll see patterns that are forming, not fully formed, and that can help us prepare for the coming week. How we're going to be trading the market in the coming week. Sometimes we also see patterns that are already formed, like in situation like this, for example, if I see a pattern here formed already, I see that a breakout has happened, all I probably will be looking for is a pullback, so I would come to the market sometimes. I would see patterns like that formed already, and it's just the entry I'm looking to take because the pattern is there already. Some the patterns are there but not fully formed, so I can wait. So that's why it's quite important to be able to analyze, to know how to identify patterns, know how to analyze them, and know when to enter, when to exit. These are quite important. Welcome once again to the class. If you're new to my session, please do introduce yourself in the chat box. I would like to meet you, know where you're tuning in from, your kind of trader. You also want to tell me if you have idea of patterns trading, whether you're joining me on YouTube, you're joining on in the beginners room of XM. Let's know what you trade, the kind of patterns that you like to trade, the ones you can easily identify. And if you can identify anyone at the moment, from any chart, please notify us. Let's take a look at it together. Maybe we can also look at such trades and want to find an entry from there. Okay. So welcome again, everyone. We would just start the analysis by looking at the different ways that patterns can help us to find trades. We will look at pattern analysis that can give us idea of continuations. We will look at the ones that give us idea of reversal. Okay, but how can we identify this? If you can't identify patterns, you don't even know what the patterns are. Also, if you can't identify your trend, it becomes difficult to tell the kind of pattern you're seeing, whether it's a reversal pattern or a continuation pattern. So this is why it's quite important to know how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to also be bringing in a slide that I think would help in this regard to help us understand patterns trading generally. And then we start talking about why patterns work, how to identify these patterns and all that and all that. Okay, so let me ensure that I can see your charts. So I'll look at some of the patterns I traded in the recent times. So to help you know what you can do, how you can as well go about identify patterns on your own. I have opened at the moment the chart of um, oil pattern, oil mini, and I can see that the price had made a lot of moves, different patterns had formed at the time it was up here. At that time, I had placed that support trend line, the supports this horizontal line identifying the support area, and you would see that the price started to push downward at some point. It broke below that area, and we are currently below that support level. What I would want is a pullback. And in fact, I was waiting for that pullback to happen, but it didn't. So there I saw what looks like head and shoulders pattern. And by the time the price broke here, it gave an indication that the price may continue to the downside. But anyways, let's see how this begins to, how it begins to go from here. To help us identify or to know how to trade the patterns, we will look at it. Okay, we will look at it on our own. We will look at a slide that would help us know the basics, what patterns trading is all about, how to identify them, and all that. So let me bring that to your screen. Mm, okay. So that helps you to trade on your own when you can easily identify pattern. It's quite an important thing to do. I like especially to open my chart and be able to see when patterns are formed. They help me to make decisions on whether I'm going to trade in a particular direction or not. Of course, as traders, we all desire to be able to get into the market at any time and tell the kind of trend that we can see what it means. Also be able to find trade signals on our own. Okay, so as you look now, this chart I have is called chart patterns trading. That's the title of what I have here. And when it comes to chart patterns, we have quite a number of quite a lot of patterns. These are pennant patterns. These are symmetrical triangle, ascending triangle, descending, cup with handle, teacup pattern, rectangle pattern, so all sort of patterns are formed in the market. Important thing is you being able to identify this pattern and trading the patterns on your own. Okay. So here, what are chart patterns? What do they mean when we talk about the patterns that we can trade in the market? This has to do with graphical representation or presentation of price movement by using series of trend lines or curve. We can identify chart patterns. Chart patterns are formed like symbols, or shapes. They form different shapes that you can see in the market. Like this one, we can say, oh, this looks like a W pattern, but we call it double bottom in the market. In forex trading, a lot of the time you're going to hear double bottom, bottom, bottom. This is what it looks like a W pattern. We have double top that looks like hem pattern. We have this one, inverted head and shoulders. We have bull triangle pattern. We have bull flag pattern. All sort of movements can be seen in the market. Different shapes and patterns that can give you an idea of what the price is doing. Now, it doesn't mean that these patterns, they just are drawn out on the chart somehow by some people, and then them or compulsorily the market has to move in a certain direction. No, these patterns are formed based on the psychology of the traders in the market. All right. They kind of describe a they are described as natural phenomenon of fluctuation in the price of financial asset caused by a number of factors, including human behavior. So all our emotion that we bring into the market are somehow presented in these patterns. They can be seen, all right? The emotion of fear, emotion of greed, revenge, and all of that can be seen on all of this pattern. And that is why they form the way they form. And that is why they are also repetitive. Sometimes you see patterns, they would come up. You've seen them maybe last month, last 2 weeks on your charts, last week even, or even this week, depending on the charts you're looking, the time frame you're looking at. If you're trading from 15-minute time frame, you probably would see the same pattern form maybe twice within the same instrument that day, or maybe you've seen one yesterday, you see one today again. These are patterns because they are repetitive. They appear in the past and then you see them again in the future. It becomes easy for you to start envisaging or having an expectation of what the price is going to do, because in the past, majority of the time, they've moved in a certain direction after such patterns form. So if I know that after this kind of patterns form in the past, price had moved in a certain direction, then by the time I'm seeing such forming again, it gives me an idea how I'm going to be trading it. I already have a plan on how I go ahead and enter my trade, whether I'm going to do a buy or I'm going to do a sell. Okay. Chart patterns are the foundation of technical analysis. In technical analysis, chart patterns are used to find trends in the movement of an asset price. So with chart pattern, you can tell what the current trend is, whether it's going to continue or whether the trend is changing. And in this case, I'm looking for reversal pattern. If I'm expecting a change in the trend, then I'll be looking forward to see reversal patterns forming in the market. Okay. Um, Chart pattern analysis, it's quite important. It's very important that they will give you direction a lot of the time. So it's um, very important for you, especially if you're a technical trader, to learn to identify these patterns. They are going to go a long way in helping you make valid trading decisions. You will know when to how to analyze the market, what to look out for, and all that. Especially when you're still new to the market, you're still looking for guidance on entering, exiting, what you want to look out for. Simple patterns can give you idea how to find your entry, when to enter a buy, when to look to do a sell, and all that. Okay. A trader armed with the knowledge requires a recognized pattern along with the skill to apply them in their decision making process can increase their hold of anticipating where the price would move next. All right. It is easier for you to anticipate where price is going to go next if you know how to identify that. All right. On YouTube, we have Semayo Adano. Good to have you, Semayo. How are you doing? Where are you tuning in from? I hope you have your FM account already, so ensure to tune in with us after some minutes in the beginner's room as well. Okay, the skill required to interpret the chart patterns correctly takes practice and commitment to acquire. And there are many different chart patterns that are used in technical analysis. So what are some of these chart patterns? What can they give you? The most basic of these chart patterns is the trend line. The trend line, is something you can just pick up and draw on your own. You can draw it in different direction based on how the price is moving. These tools, they give you clarity as to what the price is doing and how you trade it. I'm looking here now and I'm seeing a pattern that has formed and that is performing already. This pattern here, with this trend line I just placed and this horizontal line that is here, that is bearish or bear triangle. It's a bearish triangle pattern. This strong support level, if it gets broken, it shows that the price wants to continue downward, especially as we see that the strength of the buyers continue to reduce as they push the price back up every time it comes to touch the support. That pattern is a bearish continuation pattern. The price has been in a major bearish trend, and then we got into a consolidation like this. When this happens and the price starts to range, usually it tells that the price would continue downward. So at this time, for me, I would really be looking for a sell. But of course, where I was looking at was the one with the weekly time frame. I won't enter from there. I'll go to 4 hour time frame and I'll go and find my entry from there. And then on this 4 hour time frame, what do we have? Um, Semayo says he's from Senegal. All right, Semayo from Senegal, thank you so much for joining our broadcast on YouTube this morning. I look forward to having you in the beginner's room as well of the XM. I'm going to proceed there to conclude the whole session there later. All right. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, what can I see that can give me an idea of an entry for a sell? Okay, because of course it's a sell I want to do. While I am trying to also be careful because I know that this price may go all the way back up in correction, especially as I see yesterday's candle closing bullish. So there is also that possibility that the price will go up. All right. If I can, I think the best would be if I can place my stop loss above this current week's candle. That though will be wide, that's quite large. Um, over 600 points there. Hmm. Let me see if I'll be able to get something to take if I will do that. If not, I'll have to go to lower time frame to go set my order. Oh, I wonder why my cursor is not working. All right. I'll calculate that perhaps by checking online later. Let me see. Yeah. So I will um be looking at what I can do, but that is quite wide. I don't like entering from weekly time frame. So if I want to enter from 4 hour, already at the moment, this looks quite good for a sell because you see an engulfing bearish candle has just formed there. The price is pushing downwards and then an engulfing bearish candle has formed. If I also look at these three candles, they look somewhat like evening star candlestick formation. And so that means that there's a possibility of the price moving down. If I want to take this without having to compulsorily set over too large stop loss based on the weekly time frame, then my stop loss will just be above here, but I can make it a bit wider